Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to part 6 of my Satyajit Ray series. And today's film in the series is 1961 Two Daughters. Now there is also a version of this film, Three Daughters, but you can't seem to get it in DVD. It is a film split into two stories, or three stories if you can find the other version. And this is, so far in his career, this is his lightest film. There's some moments of comedy in it, but Satyajit Ray being Satyajit Ray, there's still parts of the film that are quite moving. And wholly wonderful. The first episode is called Postmaster, and it's the shortest one of the two stories. It's a simple story of a guy from Calcutta who goes out to the country to take on the job of a postmaster, and there's a little orphan girl called Roton who pretty much looks after the postmaster and does all the work around the post station. And he finds out that the previous postmaster beat her and was thoroughly unpleasant to her. Again, with all of Satyajit Ray films, like I said at the start of the series, his films are deceptively simple. So I mean, this one is essentially just about the relationship between the guy, Mr. Nanda, and the little girl, and he decides to teach her to read and write, and it's just beautifully done. He succumbs to malaria and she looks after him, and then after the malaria he decides that he's had enough of country living and he wants to go back to Calcutta. Again, it's the short episode, but again it has a lot of charm. It is quite moving in places, and it's also quite funny as he experiences the local nutter, for example. So we go on to the second story, which is called Samapti, which I probably mispronounced, and this stars Sunistra Chatterjee, who was grown-up Apu, and again he features in a lot of Ray's films, and he plays a student who again comes home to the countryside, and his mother, who is desperate for him to marry, and she has arranged essentially this marriage to this other local girl in the village who he can't stand, and he can't stand her relatives, and he kind of falls for the other sister, who is a bit of a tomboy and doesn't want to get married, and she has a pet lizard called Chorky, and her nickname is Pugly. So they eventually get married, but she doesn't actually want to be married. So in frustration, he decides to go back to Calcutta and go back to his studies, and pretty much says if she changes her mind to write him and he'll come back. Also, this really displeases his mother, and Pugly just kind of doesn't want to do anything and is obviously missing him. So the mother sends this letter saying that she's ill for him to come, and of course he comes back, and Pugly's missing, and things happen, and again it seems light, and it seems there's not a lot going on. It does have, there's a scene where Pugly's on a swing, which is absolutely beautiful, and it's probably the second best swing scene in cinema history, behind Akiru, of course. Again, it's funny, this film is the first one out of his career that isn't either a masterpiece or excellent. So he's not at his best. I wouldn't say, you know, it's his best film. I wouldn't say this is, you have to check this film out as a starting point for Satyajit Ray. But it's extremely enjoyable, it's funny, it's charming, it's sad in places. Despite the print, which unfortunately is not great, because well, sadly quite a lot of Satyajit Ray's film stock and prints aren't the best. So it's not his best film, but it's hugely enjoyable, and after you've watched it you'll have a smile on your face, and it kind of, I think, speaks to the greatness of Satyajit Ray. The fact that, you know, it's not one of the Apu films, it's not The Music Room, it's not Devi, but it's still a really good film. And again, not the first stop on the Satyajit Ray journey for people who are unfamiliar with his films, but well worth checking out if you're a completionist or want to see Ray with a little bit of a lighter touch. But again, there's shot compositions are beautiful. There's a scene with lightning, which is just beautifully shot. Yeah, again, it's simple stories, but with engaging characters that you are kind of immediately hooked into, and you kind of want to know what happens to them and how their lives are affected by these events. Again, pretty much like all of his films so far, there is a conscious effort for characters to learn to read and write. There's a constant kind of message about learning English, as well as kind of keeping that Bengali history and culture, which is quite interesting. So thank you very much for watching. It is a short video. Again, they're two simple tales, but beautifully told, beautifully crafted, and well worth finding and checking out, but not necessarily the first Satyajit Ray film I would pick to show people. So please let me know in the comments below whether you've seen Two Daughters, or Teen Kanya, or Three Daughters even, which is the version I haven't seen with the middle story taken out. And hopefully we'll see you for part 7 of the Satyajit race season. So thanks very much for watching. Leave comments below, like and even subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you again. This is Satyajit saying farewell.